Hey friends, Cherie here. Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, August the 10th, I believe. And so I'm going to be starting this week's weekly harvest vlog. I'm going to start out just showing you a little overview of what's changed in the garden in the last week. These squash down here, the leaves are getting bigger, setting more flowers. I can see the beginnings of some fruit coming. As I look deeper, I have been inspecting plants for squash vine borer damage. I do see some plants that look like maybe there were some attempts, but the plants don't seem to have been taken out. And I've had that in previous years. As I showed you in a short, or maybe even in the last video, that it does look like some vines got attacked and possibly destroyed. Though we're gonna look at that, and that I think that plant is also trying to have a bounce back moment, so we'll see. But I'm just sharing glimpses of new fruit that have set. Some do look like they maybe did not get pollinated, and we'll see those as we go throughout, but I'll have a better feeling with some of them next week. I had some that looked like they were pollinated and they looked like they stopped growing, so we'll see. And then some that I thought didn't get pollinated got real big. But I'm thrilled so far with the progress of all the winter squash plants. The summer squash plants as well. I mean, that's my food for daily fresh eating. But this has been the year of the winter squash for me. The last 2 years, I've just been trying to grow more and more, especially varieties that store well for longer months. And so, yeah, I'm thrilled about the progress of these varieties so far. And some are quite new, as I've mentioned in previous videos, so I'm just looking forward to tasting those. But I'm out here mainly to harvest some summer squash. I'm getting squash every day at this stage. I did not harvest food over the weekend because I still have so much from last week's harvest. But I'm getting out here today, getting the next big batch. I have herbs to harvest this week, so that's going to be kind of the main focus for preservation, is going through all my different herbs. So I'm going to do another round of cleanup of these squash leaves, but I'm just showing you the progress of some of the squash. And you can see here I have some more dead leaves to cut off. They are of no use to the plants anymore, so I'll get that cleaned up. We'll see what else I harvest today besides the squash. But I think I don't have a lot of time, so I think I'm mostly gonna get the summer squash before they get too big. There's a lot of winter squash growing on this side of the garden also. I noticed these vines were getting into the lawn, but I finally need to finish up my border. And I saw this one vine with all these, look at that cricket, with all these plants on there. So I'm going to be careful with that. Well, once I get the mulch down, I might go ahead and let it kind of sprawl some more. But yeah, this is from the outside of the garden looking in. This other white Cushaw melon is getting big as well, but this one here is just mammoth. And then you can see here the red curry melons are curing nicely. And then it looks like it's about that plant is gonna be setting some more new fruit. So I can't wait for the honey nuts to ripen. Start green, but it's going to be orange when it's ready to store for winter. All right, so over here, I did notice, I feel like I saw 3 saw it while I was doing my water rinse down, and then I forget where I see them. But I'm going to take my time and go through. Yeah, see, that was one there that I had missed the other day. And there's another one here. And then there was a third one. I'm going to find it. I definitely remember there were 3 that I saw when I was watering. So I'll take one. And yeah, I'll get her. I don't know, see, those up in there aren't quite ready yet. There's one in there that's kind of small, but it's on the soil. May or may not grab her. And what about here? No, that's small yet. I'll leave the other one that looks like it didn't get pollinated. Let's see. Again, this plant has so many fruit on it. And that's the thing. They're not all going to get pollinated, but you know, the hope is that as many as possible will. And then here, yeah, I'm gonna get those. So that's from this side of the garden. These plants are just fun to watch grow. You know, I was getting a little bit worried that because they were getting so big and I wasn't seeing any fruit. And then now I'm starting to see a lot of fruit just further away. So they're going all the way over there and then fruiting. So we're gonna leave those alone and just let them take over. I have plenty of garden space. I was gonna be putting some root vegetable seeds in here, and I still might. I might cut some of it back here at the front. But I still have a whole nother garden that I haven't even filmed yet. That's where I have some peppers and other things growing already. And I'll be putting a lot of the fall seeds up there as well. It's the beginning of another one. This has a lot of babies on it again. Very happy squash plant. Here's another view of that white Cushaw melon on the outside of the fencing. Have a peek over here. Lots of new squash, new tomatoes, lots of food growing on this side as well. I think I also, I saw the first of my Trumpachina squash are coming in. I saw like 3 babies the other day, and so they're growing in nicely. Lots of cucumbers are flowering over here. So we'll see when they come in. This looks like maybe another patty pan growing there. This one tomato was the first to ripen, and I'm grabbing, a little handful every time I harvest off of those, waiting for the big rush of all the other varieties to come in. But they're fruiting nicely. This squash is getting big and beautiful. I gotta find the tag. I'm pretty sure this is one that I'm growing to store as a winter melon, but I want to double check because or as a winter squash, because I don't want my summer squash to overgrow and get seedy. So this golden zucchini is just super productive. I'm going to get that one, and then there'll be more on her sister plant this week coming in. It's just been a nicely productive plant. And then this plant is putting off some patty pan. I'll probably get that one down there because she is sitting right on the ground. But I do need to, as I said in the last video, still cut these back some just to make sure the pollinators are getting in there. Again, lots of tomato blossoms coming on all my tomato plants. Lots of fruiting happening. So hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll start my big tomato harvest production for the season with all the plants that I have growing here. And then I did notice here that some of my beans are drying up over here. I am growing them to let them be dry beans. I might regrow them indoors since the plants are so tidy and test them out as fresh beans. But yeah, I'll come out and start harvesting some of those dried beans. Probably later in the week maybe. I'll get some. I have a couple of those plants. So we'll see. But again, the big tomatoes are starting to set a lot of fruit. So I need to come back in and do some more staking. This is my main eggplant bed. They're growing in nicely. There are some already here that I need to take off. I had missed those. So I'm gonna get those off of there. I can see some more blooms are setting, but I'm gonna get those off of there so the plants can get taller and set more fruit. And then over here, yeah, lots more cherries that I started from seed, setting flowers beautifully. And then I think I released that short already where I showed you all that I discovered elderberry in my garden. So I'm gonna go around and harvest. I'm gonna go around and harvest the ones that look like they fully ripened. There's a couple, and then I'll just keep coming out harvesting as they ripen up. I think just those two lower heads are fully ready, and we'll see. Do a quick check back here. Banana melon is growing in nicely. I think that one's a banana melon, or it's another melon that's similar to the banana melon, the Kentucky melon. We'll see. Anyway, the plants are growing really nicely and fruiting a lot. The smaller eggplant bed is also fruiting a lot. I think that there are 3 different varieties in here, and all of them are setting blooms. I've only harvested 1 eggplant so far, but my eggplant usually aren't ready to be in big production until end of August. So yeah, but the plants are looking good. Okay, friends, let's get the harvest. I probably should have harvested her a couple days ago, but honestly, I didn't even see it. Look at them. The bees just would be falling asleep in here, it seems like. Going to town. Let me go to the other side. Look at that. They don't even care that I'm here. They're like, you are not going to disturb us, woman. Get my food and get out of their space. Also notice that these sriracha peppers are ready, so I'm gonna get those. All right, I found that third squash. I know I saw 3. All right, and I went on and grabbed 3 of this pan squash, and I left the other ones. I'll get those tomorrow. There'll be maybe a little bit bigger, but yeah, this is enough for right now. And then, like I said, I'll definitely be back out to get more greens, different kinds of kales, which I've shared these already and harvesting of these already. Look, this is the first bloom on this particular marigold. Let's see what variety that is. So this is called the Dune Yellow Marigold. That might be the first time that I've grown this. I'm not sure. I will be observing her. She's a little taller than the other marigolds that bloomed earlier. But I'm happy to see her make her appearance. And I was talking about kale. So yeah, I'll definitely get some of that walking stick kale later tonight. And like I said, if I remember, I will record it or share it just to document it in this weekly vlog. All right, let me head inside. All right, friends, so it is Friday, August the 15th, and we are back in the garden for another harvest, another garden check. Gonna do some watering. Look at these tomatoes coming in so beautifully. Hey there, little lady. Lots of blooms setting. But we're here to get the squash that we saw earlier in the video. It was from a couple days ago when they were babies. And now they have that leg. I really should have been out here yesterday to harvest on Thursday, but I just couldn't get out here with enough time to harvest. So I said, you know what? I'll just wait. Look at that beauty growing. I'm gonna get in there today to finally and make note of which vine has spread where, so I can be aware of what those squash are that are growing, because I think my initial guessing was incorrect. I think the vines have crisscrossed more than I thought. Let me show you something beautiful. See this dragonfly? She's camouflaging in so beautifully with the callaloo. She has the same colors, the magenta and the green, the yellow. What a beauty. I love the dragonflies. My garden is filled with them because the mosquitoes come out, and so do the dragonflies. So I have already come through and just done a quick kind of watering. Watering always kind of moves the leaves back. It gets a little blast of if there are any spiders or critters that might jump out of me on me. Gets them off. Look at this. Ooh, I think I know what that is. Look at that. Oh yeah, I gotta get in here. Oh, this is producing so many. I gotta get in here and read my labels. All right, this thing has just, look at this. It's crazy. She's so beautiful though. The vining squash just really can spread and spread and spread. What I would do to have like 2 acres that I could just plant squash, that would be awesome. But I grow a good amount considering I'm in my little backyard here. And I am grateful for what's growing. But anyway, I just want to get over here and show you. This is that squash that I hand pollinated. And look at how big it is. So I definitely gotta get in there and read the label to see what that is. Because I'm totally confused now. There was one back here that I had hoped would also get pollinated, and it did not. You see that? I'm gonna get that off of there. And there was one on front of it that I had hoped would get pollinated, and it did not. So I'm so glad that I mean, the bees were buzzing around in this thing. So I don't know. I'm just gonna say it was a concerted effort. But at least I have one that's pollinated. I'm gonna look through. That's why I gotta get in here. I'm gonna be watching these now like a hawk for any more blooms that open, and I probably will go ahead and cut back some of the leaves around where the blossoms are forming, just to give it a little nudge. But look, she's jumped all the way over here, and I might leave her alone. This is that walking stick kale. I love that. But anyway, I'm gonna have to get back here. My cherry tomatoes are coming on really nicely. There's another squash that did not get pollinated. So I'm gonna get that off of there. Tiger tomatoes. But my tiger tomatoes are coming in nicely. And up here, lots of different cherry tomatoes are coming in nicely. But yeah, I'm gonna get in here and get that squash. I did already cut these leaves back some. I'm probably gonna do like another trim. Gonna get some more onions out of there. You can see here. Well, I think I showed it earlier. I cut it back up in here mainly to free up the space in the bed so that the tomatoes wouldn't be smothered. But now they're just all over here in my aisle, but that's fine. I can walk around. And this beauty here is still just pumping out so many fruit. I saw several that I missed, but I mean, I'm counting like 6 babies that'll be ready in a couple days as well. But I'm going to start the harvest on the other side of the garden. Then I gotta prop these vines up so that I don't inadvertently, look, she's all the way over here now. So this is the one that I missed. There's another one that got real big over here. And again, I don't know if I missed it or if it just quadrupled in size in 2 days. But I saw it when I was watering it. Yep, there she is down there. Okay. Look how big that got. So, anyway, I'm going to get my gloves on, get my baskets ready, and like I said, I'm going to start harvesting on the other side of the garden today. The thing I'm going to point out here is this massive green squash that I missed. And I'm going to cut off some of these. The powdery mildew is setting in. We got a lot of rain. It's very hot and humid. So I'm going to trim those back. And then I'm going to give these a liquid fertilization just to kind of help them keep themselves together. I have a little compost tea brew that I'm going to feed this with after I get that squash off. Then I'm going to go ahead and harvest these ripened cherry tomatoes that I see in here. And I'm going to get these grow bags cleaned up some. I'm probably going to go ahead and pull out the onions from these bags. These are my extra Walla Walla onions. So I'm going to go ahead and get those out, mainly because I want to get these grow bags cleaned out, and I want to sow some herb seeds and some fall green seeds in these now. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and harvest some stuff out of there, even though they're a little, young. They're not fully developed, but that's fine. I want the space. Yeah, this is way bigger. This is way bigger than I like to harvest these. It's gonna be a little seedy, but I'll put that over here. That's okay. Back on the other side where I have a lot of squash to get, but first I'm going to stop and get this one winter squash here that I told you the vine was hit by the squash vine borer. And now I see another little critter. It might be the beginnings of a squash bug forming, I'm not sure, but I'm going to get my squash off of here. I'm going to go ahead and just pull that vine. The other one next to it is still going good, so let's hope we get a few more on there. This did not have enough time. So this did not have enough time for the, so this didn't get to stay on the vine for the top to fully cure. So I'm going to go ahead and actually eat this one because I don't want it to rot and then I lose it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this open and eat it. And, you know, the winter squash, often you can eat them before they're fully cured. They just aren't as developed in flavor, from my understanding. So this may not be as sweet or rich tasting or have its full, like, flavor profile at this stage. But I'm going to cut it open and eat it anyway. And we'll see how it is. Like I said earlier when I first showed you this is the first time that I'm actually growing this particular variety. And so, yeah, I've never tasted it before. And then here is my other one, still getting bigger and doing okay so far. So, we'll see. All right, so I'm back on the other side again where we started to get all the summer squash that I showed you. Any more that I find, and then I'm going to harvest these ripened cherry tomatoes as well. This is a volunteer cherry tomato. I shared it with you all earlier. So
drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I watch you as you sleep. You don't know I'm looking. With you everything's complete. Do you know how much I love you? I put your favorite song on just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feeling, I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here?
okay, there are definitely a few over here I'm gonna come back for tomorrow, like that one. Maybe I should go ahead and get it. I feel like if I don't, I might forget. Yeah, I'm gonna come back tomorrow. I gotta come back tomorrow anyway, so I'm gonna come back and get that one tomorrow, and probably that one tomorrow. These will be a few days. There are a bunch that are gonna be probably in the next 3 days. But let me just get the ones that I know. Yeah, there's gonna be a good harvest tomorrow, and then a couple more days as well. So I'm just gonna get the overgrown ones that I saw here. She is entangled. Yeah, you can see how the color changes. It grows too much. But this will be a good one to use in a soup. And here's the other one. And this little plant, this 2 to 4 plants, however many I put in here, have been worth every penny. They've already generated me so much food, and it's a favorite. All right, now we got to go on the outside of the garden. There's some summer squash out there that I need to get. All right, so as we're out here in the outer part of the garden to get the summer squash, I will just update you on the winter squash, at least, just so you can see the progress. Again, the winter squash is not quite ready to harvest. I have a couple red prairie squash that look like they are near ready to harvest. You see how the neck is going from green to like that yellow orange? That's letting me know that it's starting to cure and dry up, and I'll be able to harvest and store those hopefully for a couple months. The red curry I grew before, but I only got 2 and I ate them in short time. So we'll see how long these last as storage squash. But anyway, I'm gonna get these white squash in here. And I noticed when I did my pre-water that there was one down there that I totally missed, and it's huge. But let me get this one first. Okay, y'all, look at this one. I totally missed this one. So I just watered. Where was it? No. It's gonna be so hard to see. Up, look. It was under that one I just got. You see that? So let me get that in there. I'm gonna have to get that. Let's see. I can do it. Let's see. Alright, so I'm glad I saw her today before she got too big. I'm going to inspect this plant to make sure that I'm not missing anything else. I'll get those 2 little ones tomorrow when I come back out. Let me just go back in this corner and be sure. Yep, there'll be one there. So I'll get those 3 tomorrow. Okay. Anything else in here? I think that was it for today. Out here. So lots of things growing. I'll leave that one there to get tomorrow. You can see these 2 here. Hopefully they pollinate it. We'll see if they're any bigger tomorrow. No, I think that's it. I did notice that the first of one of my pumpkins, I have a pumpkin variety growing over here. And I feel like I saw, yep. I think this is the beginnings of my pumpkin right there. Pretty sure that's what that is. So, and I saw a lot of fruit forming down here. There's squash, these yellow squash. I'll get that tomorrow. I got a lot of yellow squash already today. I'm going to be making a little basket for my neighbor at the end of this video. So there's another one. So, yeah. And then I'll show you one last time this big mama jamma. And actually, I'm gonna run in here and check all my labels and add them to my book for what's in what position. And then I'm gonna look back to see what the squash is supposed to look like. Now, one thing about these squashes, they can look totally different when they're young versus when they mature. So I have to take that into account. That's why I like to document it for myself. So when I grow it the next season, I will know. All right, the last thing I'm gonna do, because I do want to give my neighbors some onions. So I'm gonna go in and grab a couple more onions. I'm gonna check those labels and I'll be right back. These onions are getting really overshadowed by the walking stick kale. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull those and enjoy those now. Let's get over here. It's about to rain, y'all. That one. All right, friends, I'm gonna wrap up today's video, this weekly vlog, the second week in August, with preparation of a little basket that I'm gonna drop off to my neighbors. And so I finished up a show recently where I had my handmade goods, and I had a few customers that wanted to do kind of a mix and match. So I have some broken sets of things, and so I'm gonna gift those in this basket. So I'm gonna give this one, this is like a large placemat, but you can also just use it in the center of the table to, you know, keep a fruit bowl or plants or, you know, the food you're serving. And I only have one of those left right now, so I'm gonna include that. And then I have these smaller placemats or snack mats. Oops, I should have been a little bit more gentle. So I'm gonna include 2 of those for them. And then, you know, they are just a couple, so I'm gonna order, they're just a couple, so I'm going to give them sets of 2 napkins, because again, I had some folks break things, the 4 packs apart and did some mixing and matching, but I'm gonna give them a total of 6. So 3 sets, 2 each. So if they have guests over and they wanna use the napkins, they will have a total of 6. And 2 are with the print of the large placemat or table mat. And then 2 are the same print as the snack mat. And then this print here is actually on the reverse. I should have showed you. I don't know if you could see it. That's what I have on the reverse side of the larger mat. Okay, so I got those into the basket, and now I'm gonna add some garden fresh vegetables. I'm gonna place this little paper towel just to protect the napkins a little bit. And I'm gonna include 2 of the white patty pan squash. I have this green squash that we just picked. I'm gonna put in 2 of the yellow patty pan, and then I have 3 onions to share with them. I think that's gonna be a nice little treat for them early in the season. I love to share the tomatoes and peppers and stuff with them later in the season, but I know they like squash, and so I think they're gonna be tickled with a basket earlier in the season. So yeah, I have plenty of squash, and as you saw in the video, I have a lot more coming in. A lot of the plants are just starting to pump out their squash, so I'm gonna go ahead and share some of this early in the season And then I'll be sharing, like I said, more things with them later in the season when the big harvests come in. Okay, friends, that's it for today. I'll see you soon with more garden and harvest videos. And do look out on the cooking channel because I have been cooking up all of these harvests and recording some of what I cook. And I'll have all that inspiration for you on my cooking channel, Cooking at Home with Cherie. I will link it in the description box. Take good care. Bye.